groups. IOA for data obtained by event recording can be calculated by comparing the total count recorded by each observer per measurement period. So the counts tallied by each observer during each of a series of smaller intervals of time within the measurement period, or each observer's count of 1 or 0 on a trial by trial basis. All right, so I got my little whiteboard so that we can start writing our formulas. So there is something that's called temporal measurement. So who can tell me what temporal measurement is? Remember we talked about temporal and what that means?
I think the temporal measurement would be it relates to the behavior and the timing, like, oh, that behavior tantrum happened just before the time to go home, or the behavior happened just before the bus arrived. So that time measurement will be the temporal.
Yeah, so where it occurred in time, right?
Yeah, right.
So I always think about place and time. Whenever I see temporal, I'm like, okay, where did this behavior occur in time? So temporal measurement, the two different types of temporal measurement are, wait, am I sharing my screen?
Yes.
Nope. Yes, I see the white.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay, just making sure that I didn't have to click share screen. Okay, so temporal, so temporal measurement, so you have total duration, IOA, and then mean duration per occurrence. So total duration, IOA, remember we talked about, I want to know, so if you were collecting data for total duration, I would collect that data as a continuous type of measurement. So I want to know how long that behavior occurred throughout their day. So usually I'll tell the therapist, so we use central reach. So I'll say, pause, play, pause, play. I want cumulative data on that behavior. So I want to know how much time out of his session did that behavior impede on his learning. So that will be your total duration, IOA. And then mean duration per occurrence. So when we talk about per occurrence, they want to know each instance. So those would be the difference between those two. So for the formula for total duration, IOA, they say that it is shorter duration over the longer duration. So what I would think in my mind is like how long the behavior occurred and how long he was in session. So let's say he engaged in 30 minutes of a tantrum behavior, but he was in session for 3 hours. So on the top, you would put 30 minutes over 3 hours and then multiply that by 100, and that would give you your total duration IOA. Oops. Does that make sense? Does anybody want to add or elaborate on that one?
So I wanted to know, okay, so is there a word in the book right now that you read, temporal measurement? I didn't know that before.
Temporal measurement, I did not get that from the book, but I'm sure that it is somewhere.
It's the task list item C8. So if you look at C8, it'll tell you that you need to know the differences. I'm also on with the Pass the Big Exam book, and they break it down in the sections.
On the task list?
Yeah, they tell you like what part of the task
C8.
list it is, C8.
Yeah, so evaluate validity and reliability of measurement procedures. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly in the book where it would be, but that would be separating them into the first category. So your temporal IOAs would be your total duration and your mean duration per occurrence.
Okay.
And so for the formula for mean duration per occurrence,
I get it. It says it on 114, IOA for data collecting by timing.
oh, you found it?
Yeah, it's on page 114, IOA for data obtained by timing. And then it has total duration and mean duration. I don't know.
Oh,
if you-
yes, I see it. IOA for data obtained by timing.
By
And so next to it, you can write temporal measure or
Thank you.
temporal measurement. And so that's
Yep.
why I told you guys it's so important for you to know all of the AKAs, because you might have studied it as
Timing.
timing, but in the exam, or I don't know, somewhere else, you'll read it as temporal, but temporal and time is the same thing. So where it occurs in time.
Even though I know the I know the definition, and I didn't understand that was the same thing as the timing data. Okay.
Yes. So
Thanks.
maybe I can write that.
Yeah, I just wrote it on my.
I don't know what I just did. Okay. I control Z'd it because I don't know what just happened. All right, yeah, so whenever you see temporal measurement, we're gonna think about IOA for data obtained by timing. Inter-observer agreement for data obtained by timing duration, response latency, or inter-response time is obtained and calculated in essentially the same way as for event recording data. Two observers independently will time the duration, latency, or IRT because those three are timing or temporal data collection methods, right? Based on comparing either the total time obtained by the observer for the session or the times recorded by each observer per occurrence of the behavior for duration measures or per response for latency and IRT measures. All right, so we brought it back to Cooper. So that's going to be your timing or your temporal category. So let's see. So for mean duration per occurrence, IOA should be calculated for duration per occurrence data, and it is more conservative and usually more meaningful assessment of IOA for total for total duration. The formula for calculating mean duration per occurrence IOA is similar to the one used to determine mean count per interval IOA. So it's going to be the same kind of formula as mean count, but this time we are going to be collecting the mean duration.
Yeah.
So for that one, we're going to say duration 1. So I observed he engaged in tantrum for 1 minute or whatever the first observation was. So you have your duration 1, IOA. Plus duration 2. So I observed that he engaged in tantrum for 1 minute, and then the next time for 2 minutes, and then the next time for 3 minutes. Let's just say, for example, IOA. I'm trying to figure out how to make this longer. Okay. This is really complex, you guys. I don't even know what the heck I'm doing. How do I continue to type in it? It doesn't, let me. Okay, I'll just start a new box. I don't know what happened. Okay, so plus duration IOA RN. So what does that mean?
Into response time. Is that what we just asked? IRT?
No, it says IOA RN in the formula.
Sorry.
Maybe the RM means just like the ends
So
for
forth, so on and so forth.
yeah.
Like R2, R3, R4. That's what N means
Oh,
infinity. N means natural number, infinity, like as much as you want.
oh, as many as you observed.
Right. Like 1, 2, 3,
Okay,
5, 6. Yeah.
okay, got it. That makes sense. I was like, wait a minute, what is that? Okay, so you got, let's say you observed for 3 intervals. So now you're gonna add up all of those totals. And then you're going to put them over. I should be a teacher, guys. Look at all this technology.
You are, because you're BCBA, buddy. You
Aw,
are. Yeah.
thank you. I am.
Came,
I do.
came BCBA right in front of my eyes. So that, right. I know you are a teacher.
That's true. I did become a BCBA in front of your eyes. So
Yeah.
you guys, I studied with Fatima before I passed the exam. So she's been with me for a long time.
Yeah, that's why I got back here. I said, oh, she's teaching. Let's get back there.
Okay, so then over the number of responses with duration IOA. So then you're gonna times it by 100 to get your percentage. Times it by 100. Okay, so for the use of duration per occurrence data, it's gonna be the most precise temporal duration IOA. So that one's gonna be the most precise. And so for the steps, you're going to record the duration for each occurrence. So we talked about it, how long each tantrum was observed for. So 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, okay, whatever. I recorded each one. And then you're going to add up the total duration for all of the behaviors and divide by the total number of behaviors. So if I observed it for 3 instances, then I'm going to divide it by the 3. Is that what they're saying? By the total number of behaviors?
Responses, yeah. How many responses were there?
Yes.
The total number of responses.
Total number of responses. And that will get you your mean duration per occurrence. So I'm going to collect my observation, and then I'm gonna look at Jen's observation, and then I'm gonna look at Olga's observation, and I'm gonna collect IOA for each one, and I'm going to see if we have the same percentage of accuracy, pretty much. Does that make sense to everybody? And so we're gonna say that total duration IOA is gonna overestimate the extent of agreement. And then over here, this one was the most precise. Most precise.
So the total duration, you're saying total duration overestimates? Why?
Overestimates the extent of agreement.
Why? What's the, do you have, see the reason somewhere?
Let's see. As total count IOA for event recording, high duration IOA provides no assurance that the observers recorded the same durations for the same occurrence of behavior. This is because a significant degree of disagreement between the observers' timings of individual responses may be canceled out in the sum. Total duration. Oh, so what they're saying, for example, 2 observers recorded the following durations in seconds for 5 occurrences of a behavior. So over here, it's giving us the example on page 114. So observer 1, he observed it for 35 seconds, 15 seconds, 9, 14, and 17. And then he added up his totals and he got 90 seconds. And then observer 2 observed the same kid at the same time, and he got 29, 21, 7, 14, and 14. And so when he added it up, his total was 85. So they might be different based off of their intervals, right? Is that what they're saying?
Yep.
Total duration IOA for these data is a perhaps comforting 94.4%. However, the 2 observers obtained the same duration for only 1 of the 5 responses. So their total was pretty on point, but at their actual each instance was completely off. So they're saying that only one of them was the same, but the IOA was still telling us that it was 94% accuracy. So you might want to look into maybe taking a different way of collecting IOA for that specific behavior, because they're all observing it differently.
Yeah, that's what it says at the end. It should be supplemented with mean duration per occurrence when possible.
Yeah, when possible, total duration IOA should be supplemented with mean duration per occurrence, which is described next. So that one's going to be more accurate.
Yep.
Because it's comparing all of their observations.
Right.
All right, so we talked about temporal measurements. Okay, and then so mean per occurrence, we went into that one. And we talked about how that one is going to be more accurate. So if you want to calculate an accurate IOA for duration, it's basically telling you that you should use mean duration per occurrence. Okay, so then it goes.
Please, can you come again?
What was that?
Repeat yourself again.
Oh, that they were saying that if we want to be more precise and more accurate, you'll want to collect mean duration per occurrence IOA. That way you can compare each observer's intervals versus their total.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Okay, so then next it goes IOA for data obtained by interval recording, AKA time sampling. So there's 3 time sampling procedure IOAs. You have interval by interval, scored interval, or where is the third one?
Unscored.
Unscored, yes, I see it. interval by interval, scored interval, and unscored interval. Okay, so let's make a little visual for that one. So there's 3 different time sampling procedures for IOA. 3 time sampling procedures for IOA. Okay. So 3 techniques commonly used by applied behavior analysts to calculate IOA for interval data are interval by interval IOA, scored and unscored. So first we'll talk about interval by interval. When using an interval by interval IOA, sometimes referred to as point by point, total interval, or block by block method, the primary observers record for each interval or record for each interval is matched to the secondary observer's record for the same interval. The formula for calculating interval by interval IOA is as follows. Okay, so for the formula for interval by interval, for this one, you're going to get the number of intervals that you guys agreed on. So you guys are both collecting a time sample, but I want to check if my observers are collecting accurate data. So I'm going to do interval by interval. So number of intervals that they agreed on.
Seven, right?
Over
10.
the number of intervals agreed plus number of intervals disagreed. So isn't that just the total?
No,
Yes.
this was the short, total was different, duration and longer duration. Total duration, what?
No, but I mean, they're saying that you're gonna count the number of intervals that you guys agreed on plus the numbers that you didn't agree on. So that's actually the complete amount of intervals that you guys observed for, if that makes sense to you guys. I don't want to confuse you, but that's just the way my brain works. And then times 100. And so you'll want to know the AKAs for interval by interval. It's point by point agreement, total interval, or block by block, in case the test throws it at you in a different way, which hopefully they don't. And then you'll times it by 100. To get your percent of agreement. Okay, so what does it tell us about that? Okay, so in this instance, in figure 5.3, if you guys want to go look at 5.3 on page 115, it says, based on the record of 2 observers who recorded the occurrence X and non-occurrence 0 of behavior in each of the 10 observation intervals, the observers' data sheets show that they agreed on the occurrence or non-occurrence of the behavior for 7 intervals. Okay, so do you guys see the chart?
Yes.
For interval 1, do they agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Disagree.
Yes, disagree, because observer 1 says that the behavior was recorded. Observer 2 did not observe the behavior. Okay, so for interval 2, do they agree or disagree?
They agreed.
Agreed, yes. So they both have an X. So that means that they both did observe the behavior. So cool, they got that one. What about interval 3?
They agreed too.
Yes, they agreed. They both saw it. Interval 4, did they agree?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they agree that they both did not see it during interval 4. Interval 5, did they agree?
Yes, they did.
Yes, they both observed it, so that was an agreement. Interval 6,
They
No,
didn't.
no agreement, because one person said, yes, I saw it, one person said, no, I did not see it. Interval 7,
they both agreed.
yeah, they both agree that they did not witness the behavior. Interval 8,
Disagree.
Disagreed.
yeah, we disagree. One person says, yes, I saw it. Other person was probably looking away or chit-chatting on the side with another therapist. And then what about interval 9?
Agreed.
Yeah, they both agree that they observed it. And interval 10,
Agreed.
They agreed.
yeah, they both agree that they did not observe it. So be very careful when you guys are like taking the exam, because some people will not count the zeros. So when they both did not see it, that's still agreement. We both agreed that we did not observe the behavior. So you'll still collect the data on those. So just be very careful with the zeros. Okay, so for total number of intervals that they agreed on was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe I can use the little pencil. Where is it? So total number that we agreed on, we say 7. Okay, cool. So now it wants us to take the total numbers of agreement plus the numbers of disagreement. So this is what I was talking about, where it's basically the whole total number of intervals. So we're going to count the 7 plus the ones that they didn't agree on, which is 10, right?
Yeah.
So over your total number of intervals. And so that will get you, what is it, 70%?
Yes, 70%.
If I'm guessing.
Yes.
I could just look at
75%.
I guess I could look at the book. 70% of agreement if we were using interval by interval. Oh, I didn't write that anywhere. Let's write it. Interval by interval. Okay, and so remember, these are when we're taking time samples. Okay, cool. Does that help anybody? I hope that I'm helping and not just like repeating what the book is saying.
So great.
Yeah, this is great.
Good, good. Okay. So now let's talk about scored interval IOA. So we're still collecting time sample, but now we're going to talk about scored interval. Oh, but we should say that interval by interval is likely to overestimate the actual agreement, measuring behaviors that occur at very high or very low rates. So there might be random or accidental agreement between observers. So we're going to say that that one overestimates actual agreement. Okay. So then we'll go to, which one is next? Scored interval IOA. Scored interval IOA. So for scored interval IOA, so we're still collecting a time sample and we're going to collect the data of 2 different observers and we're gonna use scored interval IOA. So only those intervals in which either or both observers recorded the occurrence of the target behavior are used in calculating scored interval. So now we can talk about which ones they actually had the X on, and we could exclude the zeros, right? So that's the difference between interval by interval and the scored and unscored. So be really careful with knowing the difference between the 3 of those. Okay, so for scored interval, what are we gonna do? The number of intervals that they both recorded an occurrence. Okay, so let's say, sorry guys, I'm really blind and blue.
For that either.
Number of intervals that they both recorded the occurrence, right?
Yep.
So now they both have to have an X on it for us to collect the data for that one, for scored interval IOA. So this one is now intervals that they both recorded an occurrence. Okay, and then we're gonna do over. Over. Rocky. Sorry, my dog is licking himself. Over the total number of intervals. Times 100. I knew this IOA lesson was going to take a long time. Sorry, guys. Okay, so scored interval IOA. We're going to take the number of intervals that they both recorded occurrence. Okay. So now it's taking us to figure 5.4 for scored interval. Okay, cool. Everybody go to page 116 for scored interval example. Okay, so for scored interval, IOA is calculating using only those intervals in which either observer recorded the occurrence of the behavior. So let's look at interval 1. Did they intervals in which either one of them, okay, so in interval 1, did either observer collect an X?
Yes.
Yes, yes. So one person said they did observe it, so we're gonna take that one into our data. What about interval 2? Are we gonna take that one?
Yes.
No.
No. No.
No, because the behavior was not recorded as occurring during the interval for either person. So in interval 2, they both scored it as 0. So we're not going to take that one into our score. Okay, so for interval 3, are we gonna take that one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, because both observers have an X. So they both observed that the behavior occurred during that interval. So what about interval 4?
No.
No.
No, nobody observed it in interval 4. What about interval 5?
No.
No.
6?
No.
No. 7?
No.
No. 8?
No.
No. 9?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, one person, observer 2 says yes. And interval 10 is
No.
a no. Nobody
No.
saw it for interval 10. Okay, so now we have 3 intervals where at least one person said that they saw the behavior happen. So for our math, we're going to say 3 is going to be our number. So yes, 3 intervals where at least one person said yes. And then we're going to take it over what? Number of intervals?
Mhm.
1.
How many
Yes,
intervals do we
ma'am.
have? 10?
10.
Oh,
Yes.
8%.
So who knows? Isn't it like 0.33? So it'll be like 33%. So we're going to say times 100. Sorry, my writing is ugly with this little pen. And so we are going to have 33% IOA when we use scored interval IOA. So what can we say about scored interval IOA? Do you think that that one is more accurately portraying the behavior or not?
No.
compared to what?
I guess compared to interval by interval, because interval by interval, it was just looking at whether we agreed on yes or no. But now when we're saying scored interval by interval, now we're saying whether one person saw it or not. So in my mind, I'm thinking this one is going to probably collect more accurate data because now I'm tracking whether they actually saw the behavior or not just whether they agreed on the behavior. So in my BCBA brain, I would think that this one would be a little bit more accurately portraying the behavior because now I'm seeing when they're actually scoring it versus just whether they agree or not. I don't know. That's just what I think, but tell me if I'm wrong. Here it says it's likely to overestimate the actual agreement. Measuring behaviors that occur at very high or low rates. Okay, so maybe I'm wrong. Oh, it's subject to random or accidental agreement. Oh no, that was interval by interval. I'm so sorry. So this one minimizes the effects of chance agreements for interval data on behaviors that occur at very high or very low rates because it ignores the intervals in which measures by chance is highly likely. So used for behaviors that occur at frequencies of approximately 30% of intervals or fewer to avoid overinflated and possibly misleading IOA measures. Okay, so I think my brain said it correctly. So we're gonna say that that one minimizes the effects of chance agreement. Minimizes effects of chance agreement. Or interval by interval that occur at high or low rates because it ignores the intervals in which measures by chance is highly likely. Okay, did that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
I hope so. Okay, this can be our last one since we're running out of time. Okay, so next we're going to talk about unscored interval IOA. Okay, so what is the formula for unscored? Is the opposite, right?
Of scored, right?
So now we're going to take intervals in which either or both observers recorded the non-occurrence. So for that one, we're going to say number of intervals observers recorded non-occurrence. Okay, so the number of intervals that the either, oh, should we say either or both? Oops, I don't know how to edit. So either or both. Okay, over the number of intervals that at least one recorder recorded non-occurrence. Number Oh, did I write it wrong for the unscored? Number of intervals at least one recorded non-occurrent.
I'm sorry, Selena. Are you typing stuff on the screen? Because I don't.
Yes,
Okay, I'm still seeing the temporal measurement and the 3-time sampling procedures IOA. I haven't seen anything from below.
oh, really?
Yes.
Scroll up, scroll up.
Scroll up or down?
Up.
Do you guys see it moving?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, I do see it.
Oh, it's me. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, I was like, oh my gosh, I was just writing all of that.
Oh my gosh, I feel so bad because I was like, oh wait, I can zoom out.
Okay, well, good, because I'm not too good with this technology stuff, so I wouldn't have known how to fix it.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay, so number of intervals that observers, either one of them or both, recorded a non-occurrence over the number of intervals that at least one recorder recorded a non-occurrence. Ooh, that's confusing. Okay, so let's go look at the example. Okay, so figure 5.5 on 116. So the unscored interval IOA is calculated using only those intervals in which either observers recorded the non-occurrence of the behavior. So for this one, let's go through the intervals. So we want to see a 0 in either one of those intervals. So for interval 1, are we going to take that one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, because observer 2 says 0. So what about interval 2?
No.
No, they both say they saw it. Interval 3?
No.
No, they both saw it. Interval 4?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they both say they didn't see it, so we'll take that one. What about interval 5?
No.
No. Interval 6?
No.
No.
No. Interval 7?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Interval 8?
No.
No.
No. Interval 9?
No.
No, because they both saw it. Interval 10?
Yes.
Yes, because observer 1 says that they did not see it that time. Okay, so now we're going to collect those unscored intervals, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 unscored intervals. Okay, and then what does it say to do? Number of intervals that at least one recorder recorded non-occurrence. Oh, so you're doing both over at least one? Okay. So what is our number? We have 4 for the unscored, and then number of intervals that at least one recorder recorded a non-occurrence. Oh, okay, sorry. The top one is saying where they both recorded a non-occurrence. So for that one, there's 2 where they both recorded a non-occurrence. That was interval 4 and 7. So for interval 4 and 7, they both agreed that they did not see the behavior. So that's going to be 2. And then over the number of intervals that at least one recorder recorded a non-occurrence. So that's going to be
4.
4
4.
So it'll be 2 divided by 4.
equals 50%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. We did unscored. I want to go back to this one because I think I was thinking about it wrong. How do I delete this part? Because for number of intervals that they both recorded an occurrence over the number of intervals that at least one recorder recorded an occurrence. I don't know how we got the answer right, but I didn't use the right. How do I get rid of this? Delete. Okay. Okay, let's go back to 5.4. So the number of intervals that they both recorded an occurrence. So that would be 1, right?
Yeah.
I'm over here confusing you guys. I'm so sorry. I got it right somehow. Okay, so let's delete that, delete that, delete that. I still got it right somehow, but okay. So the number of intervals that they both recorded an occurrence. So for that one, it was 1, right?
Yeah.
Interval 3, they both
Okay.
recorded an occurrence over at least 1 occurrence, which is going to be 3. Oh,
Mhm.
that's an ugly 3. So it's still going to give us 33%. I'm so sorry, I wrote it wrong and I don't know how I still got the right answer. Maybe it's the same rationale. Okay, cool. Well, we did at least the temporal measurements of IOA and time sampling. Oh, is that all of them? Or is there more?
Event record.
Did we do mean count? I mean, like the count, total counts?
No, we didn't do total count. We only did total duration.
Okay,
Duration,
Because
yeah.
we did temporal and we did time sample.
yeah,
So those are the only 2 that we've done so far.
okay.
Event recording still.
Oh, okay. I think I skipped total count. I just went straight to the complex ones. Should we do total count before we go?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
It's like this, almost the same, but it's just count instead of duration.
Yes. And so total count, that one. Oh, okay, no, because there's 4 of them. So I think we should go into those next week because you have total count, mean count, exact count, and trial by trial. So maybe we'll go into those next week. But those are the 4 repeatability measures
Measure, yeah,
of
IOA.
IOA. Oh, so we skipped over it. So I'll type it in there so that we know what we're gonna go over next week. But next week, we're gonna go into the 4 repeat. I don't know how to spell.
What task list item? Are these all the same? C8?
Yes, these are all what is it, Jen? C8?
C8, yeah.
Yes, so this is all in that one task list item. So that's stressful. But it's not so bad once you guys break it down like this, and know the categories, and then it'll make it easier because we know what mean is, we know what trial by trial is. So now we're just going to use it for the repeatability measures.
AKA event recording, right?
Yes, event recording. Frequency, tally marks. What else do you use event recording? Clickers,
Mhm.
all of those. So the easier ones. So we went straight into the hard ones. But I think we did pretty good. I'm gonna pause the recording.